Good afternoon, Mom. I am Levi Lopez from BEd 2. It is an honor for me to present my assignment to you. For today's video, I will discuss the history and equipment of basketball. Do you have already an idea of what we're going to discuss for today? If not, let's find out and study. So let's start. Let's start with my brief history of basketball. Do you have an idea whose person is this? So this person is Dr. James Naismith, was the Canadian physical education instructor who invented basketball in 1891. Second one is initially players dribble a soccer ball up and down the court of an unspecified dimension, followed by points were earned by landing the ball in a pitch basket. Iron hoops and mock-style basket were introduced in 1893. And lastly, another decade passes before the open-ended net was introduced. This put an end to manually retrieving the ball from the basket each time a goal was scored. So let's move on in the history of basketball in the Philippines. During 90s, the birth of basketball in the Philippines brought by the Americans, and it was also during the American colonialization when the first ever Philippine national basketball team was formed, and the team compete in the first ever Far Eastern Championship Games and won gold during the competition. During the 1936, the Philippines became a member of FIBA through the Basketball Association of the Philippines. During 1950s, the Philippines unleashed the legendary tandem of Lauro Momar and Carlos Loizaga, resulting into neck-to-neck battle against basketball. And some of the top powerhouse teams of the world, including US and Soviet Union. And while during 1960s, the Philippines became more concentrated in the Collegiate and Manila Industrial and Commercial Athletic Association, was the feature the likes of Sonny Jaworski and Ramon Fernandez. And that would be all for my brief history of basketball. So let's move on how to play the basketball. How to play the basketball. First, there are two teams of 5 players each on a rectangular court. Second, ball advances down to down by dribbling, passing, or even shooting. And then third, a player scores by shooting the ball into their basket. 1 point for the free throw, 2 points for the floor shots, and 3 points for the shots beyond the 3-point line. And then, the ball is given to the other team after scoring. And lastly, the game is won by the team with the most points after the time has expired. These are the basketball safety. First, wear appropriate athletic clothing and tennis shoes. Make sure playing area is free of debris and liquid spills. And players need to aware of all surroundings, making sure to not come in contact with another player, benches, or walls. Lastly, practice proper communication. For example, speaking loud enough for the teammates to know where you are in the court. Only pass the ball to a player if the player is looking at you. So moving on in the pieces of basketball equipment. So let's start with the ball. The official size of the ball used by NBA is 29.5 inches of circumference. Second is basket. One on each on the floor is made up of backboard and a ring, which is hold a net, and it is designed to check the ball as it passes through the basket. Followed by the backboard. It is raised vertical with an attach of basket consisting of the net suspended from the hook and the jersey uniform. A basket uniform is a type of uniform that worn by a basketball player. Basketball uniform consists of a jersey that features the number and the last name of the player at the back. The next one is scoreboard. So when we talk about the scoreboard, it displays the time left in the period, and it also displays the both team score and whistle. Basketball referees express themselves by a whistle. It makes the action stop, a foul, a timeout, and a ball out of bounds. Though it is occasionally foretell that action is about to start. Sound usually comes in a one blast and a couple of seconds. And scorekeeper. So when we talk about a scorekeeper, tracking individual players is statistical, such as the number of rebounds and the shots taken during the basketball game, and they also track the fouls and the penalties of each player. Therefore, this is done by the scorekeeper. Lastly, the basketball shoes. So when we talk about basketball shoes, are specifically designed for the intensity of the game. With constant jumping, starting, and stopping, the basketball shoes are act as a shocks of absorber and provide the ankle stability with flexibility to allow the players to move laterally. Again, these are the basketball equipment. So, we will move to the facilities of basketball. So, I have 5 facilities used in basketball. The first one is the court. The size of the court depends on the playing level. The size of the court for NBA and college is 94 feet long and 50 feet wide. Take note, the basketball court is smaller for junior high school and high school. Second is the foul line. For all sides of the court, the foul line is about 15 feet in front of the backboard. Third, the key. The key is 12 feet wide and it is the same for all basketball court. The backboard extends 4 feet out over the baseline into the key. A half circle of diameter 6 foot extends from the foul line away from the basket to complete the key. The second to the last is line marking. All line markings on the floor are 2 inches wide and it can vary in color. Last but not the least is the 3-point line. For the NBA basketball court, the 3-point arc is about 22 feet to the center of the rim on the sides with a straight line extending about 16 feet and 9 inches from the baseline. All in all, these are the facilities used in basketball. But before I start my discussion about the types of passes, let me ask you first, did you know how many types of passes are there in a basketball? Yes, there are 3 types of passes. The first one is the chest pass. From the title itself, chest, a two-handed pass thrown from the chest height. These are the cues of chest pass. Number 1 is basketball at chest. Second, 2 hands spread the fingers, thumbs behind the ball. Third, elbows out. And last, push the ball and follow through. The second type of a pass is an overhead pass. It says here that a pass thrown from the overhead to clear a defender or for added power. And therefore, there are three cues for overhead pass. The first one is bring the ball behind the head, followed by point elbow to receiver. Lastly, pass the ball and follow through. And this is the last type of pass. This is called bounce pass. It says here that a pass that bounces off the floor before it reaches the receiver. Therefore, there are three cues in bounce pass. The first one is start the ball at chest level, followed by pass the ball to receiver on the first bounce. And lastly, bounce the ball 2/3 the distance from the receiver. Before we're going to the basketball shooting cues, let me remind you again that there are three types passes of basketball. The first one is the chest pass, second one is overhead pass, and lastly, the bounce pass. So these are the basketball shooting cues. There is a get ready and the release one. So let's start first with the get ready. First, bend the knee. Second, spread the finger of dominant hand behind the ball just like this. Third, keep elbow under the ball. And fourth, watch the target and eye contact. On the other hand is the release one. So first, push the ball toward the goal. Second, extend the arm upward toward the goal. And third, arch the ball. And lastly, follow through, snap the wrist. That would be all for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you understand my brief discussion about history and equipment of basketball. Bye!